I want you to imagine spending hours upon hours and days upon days practicing to become the best, the absolute best at something you're really passionate about. Then, when you finally reach the pinnacle of your sport, your career, or whatever endeavor you have started, just for one little lie to potentially ruin everything you have worked for, including your future. What's going on, big dogs? SG Leo here, and today we'll be discussing the Matt Araiza allegations, what put him on the hot seat, and what to expect after all the dust settles. So sit back, relax, and let's dig into this. Matthew Ryan Araiza was born May 16th in the year of our Lord, Y2K, or 2000, and spent most of his childhood, like many other young kids do, by playing sports. Araiza played soccer, he was a hurdler for their track and field team, and of course, he was the place kicker / punter as we know him today for his high school football team. Now, with Matt being the kicker-punter, he, like many others who play those positions, aren't really ever sought after by colleges. So the main reason for that is that kickers and punters are not just something colleges, especially big Division I colleges, don't like to just throw a ton of money towards, right? A lot of these Division I schools have scholarship limitations, have NIL limitations, things like that, where they're going to rather get 7 quarterbacks over one random kicker. However, don't just think because Matt was a kicker / punter doesn't mean he wasn't an absolute unit out there. So here are some stats from his high school career just to kind of show you what we're working with. So he had 15 field goals his senior season and had a section record 18 field goals during the Rancho Bernardo Broncos, the high school that he went to, run to the Division III state championship in 2015. He kicked 37 career field goals at Rancho Bernardo. His longest kick ever was 53 yarders as a high schooler, and this was his senior year. He averaged 42 yards per punt attempt. He was stated to have punted a ball from his team's 20 all the way to the opposing team's 10. During his 2017 senior season, Araiza also played cornerback, collecting 15 tackles, an interception, and a fumble recovery. And of his 51 kickoffs his senior season, 49 of them were touchbacks. Only 2 were even brought out of the end zone his entire senior season. And out of all 3 seasons that he kicked, 221 times he kicked off, only 179 of them were even brought out of the end zone. The rest were all touchbacks. So clearly the man has an absolute cannon for a leg and has a bright future ahead of him. Now, all of that was enough to get him a nice full ride to his hometown school of San Diego State University, where he would become an Aztec, and it would seem that things would only get better. In his first year at SDSU, he became the starter as a place kicker and broke the school record, making 22 field goals of his 26 attempted field goals. However, it wasn't until 2021 when we finally got a full look at this young man. In Matt Araiza's first full-length year, as not only the starting kicker, but as the punter as well, he not only broke the school record for the average yards per punt, but the entire NCAA record. He, on average, sent his punts almost 52 yards, which is just an incredible stat to see from a young man still not in his prime. 52 yards is incredible. That is a wonderful punt. For his efforts and amazing performance all year, Matt Araiza was given the nickname the Punt God. He also became a unanimous All-American, MWC Special Teams Player of the Year, First Team All-MWC, and was given the Ray Guy Award for being the best punter in all of college football. Following such an amazing year at San Diego State University, Araiza decided to forego his final year and enter the NFL draft, where he would get drafted in the 6th round, pick 180 by the Buffalo Bills. This, however, would be the start of what seems like the end for Matt Araiza. Now, around the same time of the draft, it would be brought to light that Araiza was being accused of being part of a sexual assault that happened on campus at SDSU, where Araiza and 2 other teammates would be accused of assaulting a minor at a party off campus. Now, YouTube will get on top of me for saying what needs to be said, but let's just say there were some acts that weren't consensual done by potentially 3 people, according to the accuser. Now, none of this was put out to the public for some time, as more information was being gathered and more people were still being questioned about the whole situation. Araiza, during this time, wouldn't slow down a bit. He would use this time to become the starting punter for the Buffalo Bills, a team that to many was a favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. However, the story would go public on the 25th of August, 2022, and Matt Araiza was cut from the team on the 27th. They didn't even let the guy dress for their final preseason game on the 26th. He sat the sideline in street clothes, and the media had a heyday with this guy. The story at the time was that Araiza and 2 of his teammates had forced a then 17-year-old girl to have sex with them. The only problem was, after everything I just mentioned, how Araiza went from starting punter for one of the best teams in the NFL one day to being completely out of the league, facing jail time, and potentially having his entire life ruined. It was all one big lie. Yep, you heard that right. The girl lied. Well, not completely, but we'll get into that. You see, prosecutors announced on December 7th, 2022, following over 100 days of investigating, that they would not charge anybody for the alleged gang assault. Now, that on its own would make many people raise their eyebrows. It's an odd statement. Most of the time in these situations, somebody's getting in trouble. Usually, there are some truth to these statements. Usually, in a lot of these cases, a girl comes forward, says XYZ, or person XYZ did such and such to me without my consent. It's a mess. A lot of stuff goes on. Maybe you see the wrong person. Maybe this person wasn't even at the party, but usually one of the 2 or 3 people that are involved in things like this were genuinely there and genuinely do get in trouble, right? This seems to be one of those rare circumstances, because according to the investigators, Matthew Araiza wasn't even at the house when the incident occurred. The guy wasn't even in the same building as this girl. And from video evidence they were able to obtain from the house and from the encounter, the sex between the woman and the other 2 men might have been consensual the whole time. Prosecutors also determined that Araiza left the house party at around 12:30 in the morning, while timestamps of the event placed the incident at 1:30 a.m. at the earliest. That's an entire hour after Araiza had already left the house, like got in a car and took off. This guy was probably passed out while all of this, if anything at all, even happened. So after looking through all of the cameras and videos from the night of the party, the deputy district attorney of the area, Trisha Amador, told the accuser and her team that, quote, he wasn't even at the party anymore. So now you have the deputy district attorney telling the accuser and her team of lawyers and whatever else she has that, look, this is really dumb because he wasn't even there. You need to stop going after this specific guy. And it was at this point where the story started to get picked back up. Once the investigation had come back and everybody had kind of said, hey, it doesn't even seem like this guy was even in the vicinity, a surprisingly large amount of people who were all against this guy back in August when this whole thing broke through and this guy was detained and started getting accused of being just the worst human on the planet. All those same people are saying Araiza deserves another shot in the NFL, so long as all this evidence continues to back him. Now, that's not to say that there aren't other issues with the case standing before he can come back to the NFL or even think coming back to the NFL. Because according to text, Araiza did sleep with this girl while she was a minor. And the accuser's team of lawyers, the girl's team of lawyers, have basically refused to back down from taking Araiza to court. They even openly stated he will see trial and will force him to talk. So after all that info and everything we know as of now, what is going to happen to Matthew Araiza? Well, to be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I think the original statement or the original accusation of assault or of gang rape, I think that has completely fallen through, at least for Matthew Araiza. I think with that simple charge, or that major charge, that life-changing ordeal, if that is dropped and it is found that he didn't do any of that stuff, or he just pays the girl to shut up, I think he'll come back to the NFL in no time. The guy's leg is a can't-miss prospect type of stuff. He was an absolute animal, and really the only reason he wasn't drafted before the other two punters in the draft was because he just seemed to be a little green and needed to touch up a few things. I mean, the guy really had only been punting for a year at the collegiate level. And after getting drafted, he becomes the starting kicker for an NFL team almost immediately. So the guy has a very bright future as long as this does end up falling through like how it's seeming it's going to. The only thing I can see people really holding against him is, again, it does appear he did sleep with this girl at some point. Now, whether that was during this party or several parties back, or maybe it was an entire 2-3 years ago, we don't know. But according to the text that they have, he has been with this person before, and I could see that being a reason why she'd be accusing him. From everything that the investigation has shown, and that prosecutors and the media and everything that are willing to even release about this situation, from what we know, it seems like Araiza wasn't there, and that the other two guys who were also being accused did get consent. So it seems like this girl made a bad choice, went to a party, maybe she did get too drunk or took drugs or something. We don't know the full length of the story yet when it comes to the actual party itself. But the way it's all breaking down right now is it seems like this girl just made a bad decision one night and is trying to make amends for it. Or maybe she's trying to get a little bit of that NFL money. Who knows? Maybe this will all turn around and the girl would have been right the whole time. But if that happens, I'll be sure to make a video about it. But until then, guys, thank you all for your time. I really do appreciate all the support on the channel lately, guys. It has meant an absolute ton. Makes me want to make more of these videos. Makes me want to actually sit down and do editing, even though I absolutely despise editing. But thank you guys again for tuning in. I do appreciate all of your time. Don't forget to come check me out over on Twitch. I'm live almost every single day playing a wide variety of video games, and I'm always willing to sit down, chat, answer questions, whatever you guys want. I'm almost always live over there, so come check me out. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys all in the very next video. Have a great night, guys.
I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body in Harvard above me.